cold water. Another windy hike, this time in Utah. So I'm at the Harris Wash Trailhead, just outside the town of Escalante. And I'm going to be going down Harris Wash today, about 7 miles. I'm planning on covering Silver Falls Wash, Choprock Canyon, Fence Canyon. Yeah, I'll talk more about the plan as we go. But it's super windy out here, so let's get hiking. So far it's just walking in a big open dry wash, so it's not real interesting just yet, but it's gonna change pretty dramatically pretty soon. All right, I have hit the water, so there should be water from here on out down the canyon. So this is totally unexpected for there to be snow, or rather ice really, in the canyon. But finally getting into some interesting stuff with the slick rock. We're coming to the gate, so this is officially the end of the cows and the cow manure and the cow water. So I've already seen a few good campsites out here. Unfortunately, this is only 2.5 miles into my hike, but got kind of a big alcove, and then there's another spot to set up camp over there. Pretty nifty. So I just got a forecast on my inReach saying good chance of rain. Getting kind of these cool cross-bedding effects in the rocks. And there's also some interesting stuff happening in the canyon walls. Kind of these wavy patterns in the rock walls, which probably is from rain, or maybe it's from wind erosion. Maybe an internet expert can tell me in the comments. Just a happy little stream over here. Alright, we got a trail up here. Cool. At least for a minute we do. Nice. Listen to that wind. Just when you think it's safe to leave the wash and go hike the trail up above, you end up hiking through this. And yeah, it's a gnarly mess through here. So it would have been easier just to stay in the wash. Canyon walls are getting a lot deeper now, and I think I'm only about 1.5 miles from where I'm going to camp for the night. starting to get huge undercuts in Harris Wash. This is all the canyon wall. Look at that desert varnish. Looks like there are little springs that are dripping out from the canyon walls in here. Man, just check out these colors. These oranges and whites, really cool. Not too far away from where I plan to camp. However, depending on what that site looks like, I might shoot for somewhere else. I really want to try to camp in an alcove if at all possible, because the wind has been insane today. I've been getting 30-mile-an-hour gusts, and I've been getting sustained winds of probably over 20 miles an hour. And I got a weather forecast, and it says the wind is supposed to let up in the evening, but I don't know if I trust it. So I really want to be out of this wind. It was killer, man. Earlier, I wasn't filming very much because I kept getting sand in my eyes from all the sand out here. It just gets kicked up, and I really don't want that in my tent. Here's some better detail of the base of this undercut and what the rock features look like just next to the water's edge. Kind of starts to decompose, and you can see all these different rock layers, which is really neat. Alright, I made camp for night one. So I'm not in an alcove, so I am exposed to any wind that comes through tonight. I couldn't find anything resembling an alcove nearby, but I am at the spot that I originally intended for when I planned out my trip, so that's good. That's a good start. Anyway, I think I'm gonna make dinner now. It's getting kind of dark, so I think that calls it for night one. See you tomorrow. So I decided to change my route plan already. This morning, first thing when the sun came up, I decided I wanted to try out what was going to be my route back into Harris Wash from a loop around point, and I would have been going over like a big slick rock bench that looked doable from the map, and guidebook author Kelsey talks about how you can exit and enter Harris from this spot. So he doesn't mention anything about the difficulty. Okay, so my campsite is down in those trees right there, and so I'm on this kind of little trail here, kind of on a hill, and there's Harris Wash down there, and up here is what I started climbing, and that first slope doesn't look that bad, and it's not even that steep. And then this one up here is steep, very, very steep. When I came back down, I had to scramble on all fours, but that's not even half of what I hiked. Way up past it is a whole expanse of slick rock, and it's a lot more dissected and difficult than I thought it would be. Then I had to traverse a ridge line over about a quarter mile, and that was a bunch of up and down. And then I got to a part where I was like, okay, that's the main climb up to the top. And so I climbed up that, and it was as steep as that stuff that I had showed you just now on camera. Once I got to the top of that, like hiking like half a mile now, one way, and then I realized I was gonna have to walk another half mile to another slope that looked every bit as steep, but way taller, probably at least 200, maybe even 300 feet on its own. So I was like, okay, so that's what I was gonna be hiking down on the second to last day of the trip. I probably would just do it on a different trip going up, as maybe even at the start of a trip, just to get it out of the way. It looked really cool. So in fact, I think I'll show you guys a couple of pictures of what I took up there. I only had my phone camera on me. So yeah, so pretty awesome view up there. Actually regret not taking my camera and doing video up there, but that's fine. For today, I'm going to be heading down the remainder of Harris Wash. Then I'm going to be taking the Escalante a very short distance up to Silver Falls Wash or Canyon or whatever it's called. And then I'm going to try to get to the Hobbs inscription and probably try to camp somewhere halfway up Silver Falls so that I can loop around to Choprock tomorrow. Quick look at the map here. Yesterday on day one, we came into the Harris Wash trailhead, and I walked down Harris Wash, about 7 miles, I think, and I came down to right here. You'll have to excuse my pointer. This is my titanium spoon, but yeah. So there's this long gooseneck right here. So I camped right there, and I kind of hiked up this morning up about to here on this sort of high bench, and then I hiked down. Originally, I would have been coming around this part to loop around, but I decided I'm just gonna do something a little bit different on this trip. So I'm camped right here, and the plan for today is to hike down the remainder of Harris Wash, and I'm gonna connect up with the Escalante River and cross over here, and I'm gonna get out to Silver Falls Creek. And I think I'm going to try to get up to where this Emigrant Spring is up here. I think somewhere in here is the Hobbs inscription. So I think the total for today is probably around, I don't know exactly for sure, but probably 8 or 9 miles. So that out there is kind of the type of slick rock I was out on earlier this morning. It's easier looking on a map than it is in real life. Still going down Harris Wash this direction. Back in the drink with me. There's just a random tumbleweed down here. Must have blown in from the high winds we had yesterday. cool alcove in here. Steve Allen in Canyoneering 3 says there's an exit out of here with Moki steps that are kind of steep, like class 3 scrambling. But I couldn't find them. I was looking around for them for a minute. So, I don't know. I don't see anywhere you could get up over there. Whatever. But I'm just having a wonderful day in and out of the water. It is way warmer out here. It's got to be, with the sun, it feels like it's in the 70s. I was expecting like 40s today for the high, so it was a fantastic weather for being in and out of water. Huge canyon wall now. Hundreds of feet high. Here's where some water is coming directly out of the canyon wall. Climbed up on this little kind of cow path, kind of to avoid a deep part of Harris Wash, and now I have a really nice view. Check out these kind of towers up here. Beautiful day, and I am less than half a mile from the Escalante River, and it is down there that way. Looks like some pretty ominous clouds coming in here. Alright, so this is the opening of Silver Falls Creek, which we're going to go up in a minute. But first I wanted to show what I just crossed. This is the Escalante River, and it is much deeper and more swift than I was thinking it would be based on the reports I recently heard. That's the spot I crossed it at, and it was a little over knee deep there, but going down this way, there's this cool rock formation, but over there, this is actually very, very deep. Pretty stunning canyon walls in Silver Falls Creek. Pretty neat undercut over here. Alright, I have reached the Hobbs inscription, and I think I got another 1.5 miles or so to where I want to camp. So this guy, Hobbs, had to survive through like 5 days of a pretty terrible storm and winter. Huge canyon walls, deep undercuts, and shear offs. Love the colors. Alright, so this big thing sticking up here is kind of a part of an abandoned meander, and I think once I round the other side of this thing, I'm gonna have a place to camp. Yeah, there's no water up here in this part of Silver Falls Creek, so hopefully I can find water by Emigrant Spring. It's not a sure thing, so that's why my pack is so heavy at the moment. Alright, my camp is set up for the second night, so I'm a little bit up from the canyon bottom. This is pretty much where I plan to camp, but the only problem is it's really windy, and I think it's going to be gusting in a little while. It's been gusting pretty badly, but yep, this is where I'm at. It's definitely not the ugliest campsite ever. All right, well, it's been gusting winds pretty strongly, so I'm expecting more of that. So I think this about calls it for the second day. I'm just going to go up the rest of Silver Falls tomorrow, I think, depending on how tonight goes. But yeah, and eventually we'll be looping around to Choprock Canyon, hopefully. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, good morning, day 3. So last night was kind of interesting. As I was starting to make dinner, it started snowing on me and the winds picked up and there were like 25 or 30 mile an hour gusts. So it's pretty uncomfortable, but luckily sometime shortly after dinner things really calmed down and I had a pretty calm night except for a few gusts. So yep, it's pretty early, so I'm gonna get an early start today. Another quick look at the map. So I'm camped here at Emigrant Spring, and the plan for today is to hike up the remainder of Silver Falls Creek. Up here, I'm going to get up to this Silver Falls trailhead, and I think right around here, where this kind of road 117 is an old mining path, and it is not shown on any of these maps. I have it on some USGS topo maps, but basically the idea is I'm going to climb up part of the Circle Cliffs onto the lower part of Silver Falls Bench, up around here, and eventually I'm going to curve around to get into Choprock Canyon right here. I think this is the main fork of Choprock, and I'm going to head down. There probably should be still a mining path through here. I'm going to keep walking down, and I don't know how far I'm going to get. My plan is to at least get about to where it starts to kind of enclose into these deep canyon walls, but I might get as far as where it hits the North Fork of Choprock right in here, and then I think the Narrows are in this part, so that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Pretty stunning morning canyon sunrise from my campsite. Got such cool colors coming out of the canyon walls when the sun starts hitting it. So right above my campsite are these cowboy glyphs. Some of them look pretty old and some of them look kind of more recent. Okay, here's a sort of a panorama from my campsite. It is definitely not the worst view in the world. Got this huge rock formation in front of me. That's looking back down canyon. There's kind of a big rock next to my camp, but this is the way we came up yesterday. Okay, so today I'm going to go up the remainder of Silver Falls Creek, and I'm going to go curve around up onto Silver Falls Bench. That's going to be a bit of a climb, and I'm going to walk around up there until I meet up with Choprock Canyon, and then I'm going to walk into Choprock Canyon a few miles and set up camp probably halfway through there, maybe a little bit above the Narrows. That's today's plan. This is kind of a detailed look at the canyon wall. I'm really quite entranced by this sandstone. Very cool. Okay, so I wasn't expecting very much out of Upper Silver Falls Creek, but something about these tall canyon walls and the big boulders overhead just makes it feel more epic. I really can't even believe this. So who knew we were going to get to see a side view of Mount Rushmore on this trip? I like how the character of the rock is changing out here. Instead of Navajo domes, we have kind of these buttes. It resembles something more akin to Monument Valley out here. Oh look, a tree. Out here that seems pretty special. A couple more miles till we're out of Silver Falls. It's just crazy to me the scale of these canyons. When I look at them on a map, it doesn't really convey how open and how big these canyons really are. I think this stuff's pretty cool. All right, so I'm on the actual improved road now, and really surprised. I think even my little hatchback could make it all the way this far. This road is in great condition. but I think I got another couple miles. So the canyon now is really opening up and pretty much coming to an end. This is one last look at Silver Falls Canyon. Those rows of canyon walls go on for miles and miles. Still making my way up the road. You got to get all the way up to where the end of this canyon wall is to the right. All right, I am making my way up this old mining path towards Silver Falls Bench. You can see the Henry Mountains out there. I've reached the high point of this trail along Silver Falls Bench, and I'm gonna be descending for a few miles into Choprock Canyon, and I'm gonna walk into Choprock hopefully a few miles in, and then I'm gonna set up camp for the night. Man, just the sheer scale of this place continues to boggle my mind. Dead ahead over that tree, that's the opening to Choprock Canyon. That's where we're going. I think that out there is Navajo Mountain. Wow. What a view. Apparently there's a way to scramble up or scramble down to that road down there, but I have no idea how. Certainly not up here. This is a sheer drop. Wow. All right, let's keep moving forward. All right, so here's the road I'm walking on. I guess you could call it a road. It's an old mining path. But I just noticed this, and there's actually a cairn over there, and there is a route that goes down. And so it seems like pretty good trail to me. And I guess you could take it down there, connect up with the road to like the Moody Canyons and like the Wolverine Loop Road and all that stuff. And I think there's actually reliable water out there somewhere. There's some stock tanks. So here I am by this little cairn over here, this trail that goes down. And it looks like okay trail. Looks like nobody's been on it in a really long time though. It did look really sketchy and steep and kind of crumbly, so I don't know, I'd think twice about taking that trail. But it's cool that there's actually a trail that goes down to the bottom from here. Okay, it looks like I'm now entering Choprock Canyon. Here's some interesting rocks over here. They're just kind of flaking apart. So I'm actually past the point where I thought I might end up camping, but it's not really any good places to set up camp, and there's honestly a lot of cow manure out here, to be honest. So I'm gonna keep going, and I think I might have enough time in the day to get all the way down to where the water starts, so that'll be really nice to not have to ration my water. All right, well, this is a good sign. It's not a usable amount of water, but it's something trickling down out of this canyon wall. So yeah, I'm betting if I just keep walking another couple of miles, I'm gonna get some water downstream that's actually usable. That's pretty cool. Alright, well, we're getting the same kind of tall canyon wall features that we were seeing in Silver Falls. It's looking still very much the same, and still hiking. Got a couple more hours of light left, so I think I'm just gonna hike pretty much close to dark. So something about Upper Choprock that's interesting is it's much greener. There were really none of these trees in Silver Falls Canyon. So I just think it's really interesting because it's about the same elevation. Kind of kicking myself for not gathering at least some water from those crappy pools that I saw before. It's like, you know, there's really no reason not to. Could use it in a pinch. Yeah, it wasn't good water, but I could have at least gathered up like part of a bag or something. But it's been dry the last couple miles, but eventually there should be water running down here. This is good news. I have found flowing water down here. More Navajo walls. So I'm pretty close to the North Fork of Choprock Canyon, and whether there's water or not over there, I've decided to camp over there. Yeah, these canyon walls are sort of changing colors now. We got some snow or ice down in Choprock right now still. And it looks like we're hitting the actual running water now. Looks like I'm probably gonna have some water tonight. That's good. All right, my camp is set up for night 3. I'm way up high on this bench, and then the Choprock Narrows are gonna start down here about half a mile to a mile down this way, so that's what we're doing first thing tomorrow. All right, let's see how our inReach forecast did. So tomorrow is gonna be much warmer than originally forecast. Before I left on this trip, the day that I'm going down the Narrows was forecast to be no warmer than like 40. For the high, which is weird because it's been well above 50 every day. Now it's telling me 51, so that sounds about right. And it's telling me 20% chance of rain tonight, so maybe I ought to put the fly on. But yeah, the other thing I was going to check here was just how long I hiked today, because it was a super long day. You probably can't see that, but that says 19.5 miles. I don't think I actually hiked that far. I think it was more like 17.5 miles. That's still a really, really long day. Actually, today I had planned on no more than 10 miles, but I decided I wanted to really focus my efforts on the Choprock Narrows and the Escalante River, so I got myself within a few miles of all that stuff. So, plus I wanted to get water, and I did get water, so I'm all set here. And this campsite's pretty dang awesome. You know, unfortunately, after I already decided on this spot, just across the way here, I noticed there's a giant undercut, an alcove, and there's definitely a good place to camp in there, and you know, that'd be a good shelter from the rain, so. But it is what it is. This is a great campsite. So anyway, it's getting dark, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Later. Morning, it's day 4. So last night got some rain. Pretty much all night it rained, but just a nice little pitter patter. It's very pleasant to sleep to. But yeah, so today is a really short day because yesterday was crazy long, so I decided I'm just going to head down Choprock a couple miles to the Escalante River, and then I'm going to try to take the Escalante River up to Fence Canyon and set up camp over there. And if I have time in the day, then I'm going to try to head out to the Golden Cathedral, and from there I think I'm going to take Fence Canyon out of the canyon system back towards the car. I am camped right below the North Fork of Choprock Canyon, kind of up on a high bench here. Plan for today is to head down the remainder of Choprock Canyon into the Narrows right here. I'm really excited about this part. I think this part's going to be really cool. This is kind of going to be like the coolest part of the trip, I think. But eventually we're going to get out of the Narrows, get back down to the Escalante River, and we're going to head down the Escalante River about a mile or two, I'm not really sure, and I'm going to try to camp somewhere right where Fence Canyon is right here. Alright, come with me, let's walk a ways, and let's go get the scenic view from this campsite. Gonna climb up some rocks up here. Okay, so you can see my camp down there. That's looking down canyon. That's the way we're going today. We have some huge fin-like features up here. And a row of these Navajo domes that are kind of cut off by the canyon wall. That's looking at the North Fork of Choprock Canyon, and kind of to the right, sort of that direction over here, that's the main fork of Choprock Canyon that we came down yesterday. There's a pretty cool alcove across the way. I had already started setting up camp when I noticed that it was there, because for whatever reason it wasn't super obvious to me that that was an alcove from lower down in the canyon. That was my inReach. I just got a message. Well, and I'm just walking down Choprock Canyon towards the Narrows now. Okay, I think I'm approaching the Narrows now. So I think this is the biggest canyon wall yet. And over here we have what looks like the makings of an arch or some kind of natural bridge. Got more ice over here. Well, that was a cool subway section. That's cold water. These canyon walls are just lovely in March. Very reminiscent of some of the stuff I've seen out in Canyonlands. Get this kind of it's like pockmark features. Little like rock overhang. Very cool. All right, to continue down into the more narrow part of the Narrows. Wow, super cool Narrows. Getting really deep. It's cold down here. canyon walls are probably about 6 feet apart in here. Like this. Check out these subway ceilings. So that's the high water level. Pretty crazy. A little bit spooky in here, but it's also awesome. Beautiful day in Choprock Canyon. Okay, I think I'm through the Narrows, so now I'm gonna just continue down the remainder of Choprock, a couple miles I think, to the Escalante River. I think that's kind of like a moss or a lichen that's growing down where the pour-offs happen in the canyon wall. Seems like kind of a little mountain up on the benches on top. Alright, this here is the South Fork of Choprock Canyon, and this is the technical canyon that people rappel through. And here's the main fork, looking back where I came from. And I am about a mile from the Escalante River. This is the way. So the weather right now, and really for this entire trip, has been really interesting. It's been like every day has started off bright and sunny, and then sometime in mid-afternoon it just all changes, and there's these giant clouds overhead that make you think maybe a snowstorm or some kind of monsoon would be coming in. But so far all the rain on this trip has been very minor, just kind of a little pitter-patter. So not too worried about the weather, but I just wish it was sunny, because I'm gonna have to cross the Escalante River a bunch of times in a little bit, and that would really help if it was warm out for me. I am nearly to the Escalante River. All right, I have reached the Escalante River, so I've got to cross now. I'm gonna be going downriver about a mile. Fresh snow melt. That river is really, really cold. Whew. All right, I'm in Fence Canyon now. That was my last Escalante River crossing of the trip, I think. It was way better than I was expecting. I only had to cross the river, I think, 4 times, and it was a little over knee deep. Well, this is the reason why it's called Fence Canyon, because there apparently was a fence here at one time. Kind of just scoping out the area. Mainly I'm just looking around for the best campsites. There's one like right by the river crossing, so I might just do that. I don't know. Let me see. I'm not sure if there's water down in Fence Canyon. Okay, so there's water down in Fence Canyon here, so I can probably just camp across the way. Alright, I've set up camp for night 4, and I'm in Fence Canyon. This is actually an awesome campsite. It is kind of windy today, so I got the fly on. Yeah, I am right next to some water, so that's going to be great. And I figured out what I'm going to do. Instead of that Slick Rock Scramble route that I was originally going to do, so instead what I'm going to do is walk up Fence Canyon like I originally intended, up the Golden Cathedral Trail, and I'm going to get up to the Egypt Trailhead. And then eventually I'm going to meet up with a path that takes me over to the Harris-Washington Road that'll take me back to my car. I expected 7 days originally, but that's how it worked out. I did a crazy long day yesterday on day 3. It was almost 20 miles, so I think that's why I'm getting through this loop faster than I intended originally. But anyway, I guess it's time to set up for mealtime and get some water and do all my camp activities. Yeah. Oh. What's that law that says every time you plug a USB cable in, you always plug it in the wrong way? Pretty interesting view from my campsite. Good morning, it's day 5. So last night it was really windy, and my whole tent got kind of covered in sand, a fine layer of this nice red sandy powder in my tent. So looks like I got a mess to clean up this morning. So this Leuco tape is really coming in handy right now because I've been developing a pretty severe blister. Sorry about the foot stuff. Yeah, that blister is one of the reasons why I've decided to get out of here via Fence Canyon up to Egypt. Just because going back up the Escalante River would probably make it a lot worse, and it's one of the worst blisters I've ever had, and I have another big trip coming up in like 3 weeks, so don't want to make it any worse by walking in water all day long. So yep, I need to clean this mess up and start getting hiking. Okay, so I'm camped right here at the opening of Fence Canyon, and originally today was going to be kind of a layover day to kind of do some day hiking throughout the Golden Cathedral area and down into Ringtail Canyon. I decided to nix that from the trip because of this stupid blister on my toe. I just don't want to be walking in water. So what I've decided to do is I'm actually going to hike out Fence Canyon today, and there's actually a trail that kind of zigzags up here, and then it's going to follow sort of the northern, I guess, yeah, the northern part of Fence Canyon up to the Egypt Trailhead. I'm expecting this to be really scenic up in here. There's kind of a steep Navajo bench that we're going to get up onto. And then I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, but I'm probably going to hike this road out, and eventually that's going to connect me back up with this Harris Wash trailhead here. So yeah, that's today's plan. I got a hearty chili dish cooking for breakfast this morning, and it's actually vegetarian, believe it or not. Some of my meat dishes I've been experimenting with veggie crumbles, you know, like those things that vegans and vegetarians eat. And the reason for that is because they don't rancidify like ground beef does, and if you season it just right, it tastes just the same when you rehydrate it. Here is the finished product if you're interested. It's really spicy. Man, that hits the spot for breakfast. I added some cheese to it. It's really good. Alright, it's time for me to get on the trail. So I'm going to head up Fence Canyon, and I think it's about 5 miles to the top where the zebra trailhead is. And then I'm going to road walk a ways. I think it's a little over 20 miles back to my car. That's what I calculated through my phone anyway. I could be totally wrong. I'm going to see how far I can get today. I might just end up camping somewhere up on top and then walk the last few miles back to my car, or I might just walk in the dark back to my car today. I don't really know. So anyway, let's go. It's like a jungle in here. Lucky for me, the trails have been maintained and cut down recently. Looks like we're gonna have a pretty good view. Alright, so that's the Navajo sandstone slope that we have to climb up. And this is the view where Fence Canyon meets into the Escalante River. It certainly isn't easy walking uphill up this beach sand. Alright, I am about halfway up the climb, so I still have to ascend a steep slick rock bench. But look at the view up here. A lot of stuff to see. The whole Escalante Basin. Way out there, between this rock feature and the one to the right of it, you can see the water pocket fold way off in the distance. looking down into one of the forks of Fence Canyon, then across the whole Escalante Basin and the water pocket fold way in the background. What a spectacular view. You can even see the Henry Mountains out there. Alright, so I gotta climb all of that out there. It looks to me from this vantage point like a nearly vertical rock face, but I know when you actually get up to it, it's pretty walkable. Got a better view now of the water pocket fold. So for those of you Escalante experts who are wondering why I didn't go visit the Golden Cathedral since it was so close to where I camped last night, the answer is originally I was going to go over to the Golden Cathedral, but because of that blister on my toe, I decided to nix that. So today was originally going to be actually a base camping day where I was going to be set up at Fence Canyon and go walk down the Escalante a few miles and visit the Golden Cathedral and Ringtail Canyon. And I decided just to nix that day from the trip and walk out a day early, just because if my feet are constantly wet from the river, then it's not going to heal. Quite a panorama out here. So this is kind of the Navajo Bench area that I would have actually been coming up today on that other route that I had looked at, that I had talked about at the beginning of day one. It's actually going to be in view here in a second. I think it's out that direction. So I would have been walking up over there somewhere. Exiting Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. It's like all the wind from up above is channeling down this slope, so it just got really cold and really windy all of a sudden. Oh, this is slow going. It's really steep to the top. This is getting to be like a 45-degree angle. Unbelievable view. Alright, I have reached the top at Egypt Trailhead, and wow, look at this view, man. I am worn out from that climb. Well, thankfully I have around 5 liters of water on me for today. This is the Egypt Trailhead. And now we gotta rock this road out of here. You know, I'm only like 5 miles into today's hike, but that was all steep uphill, scrambling and stuff like that. So on this road I can make a lot faster time, and I should be able to get to where I want to camp for tonight. It's gonna be a lot of this over the next 7 or 8 miles. So I was walking this road, and there was a group kind of hiking in front of me down to their cars, and I chatted with them for a few minutes just about what I was doing out here, and turns out they were doing some of the Egypt slot canyons out here, and they're really cool. Chatted with them for a while, and then I kind of went my own way, and about half a mile down the road they drove by and then stopped, and they were like, "You want some water?" I'm like, "Awesome." They topped off my bottles, and then they gave me a pocket full of figs. So hope I have the name right, but shout out to the Pollies from Idaho. The amazing kindness of strangers. Okay, so here's what happened. So shortly after that group gave me food and water, another couple came along on the same road, and they offered me a ride. They offered me to go as far as their campsite, which was a couple miles short of Hole in the Rock Road. So I accepted, and I was gonna have them drop me off at my turnoff onto 20 Mile Wash that I was gonna hike up. But when we got to 25 Mile Wash, there were a lot of cows, but there was also a fence. So it looks like maybe private property or something. So didn't anticipate that. So I had them drop me off at Hole in the Rock Road. So I'm now walking down Hole in the Rock Road to the turnoff for Harris Wash. Because of that, it did add some miles on, but of course the fact that I got a ride made up for a lot of it. So I'm most likely still gonna camp this night, hopefully near the turnoff to the Harris Wash Road. Alright, those silver colored trees down there, that is Harris Wash, so I'm only a couple miles from my car. Alright, so obviously I'm in my car right now. Here's what happened. So today is what would have been day 6 of the trip. So yesterday on day 5, I was walking down the Egypt Road trailhead after having climbed out of Fence Canyon, and I got a couple of miles down the road when a couple with some dogs pulled up, and they offered me a ride. So I accepted, and they took me down to Hole in the Rock Road, and then I must have road walked maybe 4 or 5 miles. And then another couple stopped along Hole in the Rock Road and offered me a ride. And they took me to the high point of Harris Washington Road. So I only had to road walk a total of maybe 6 or 7 miles yesterday. So I only had to hike 12 miles back to my car with instead of what would have been a total of like a 25-mile loop around. So they really saved me some tedious road walking, so I really appreciate those people that gave me rides. So yeah, some thoughts on this trip. I had an awesome time. There's a little bit of everything here. There was tall, like forested benches, there were deep canyons, narrows, lots of water. What I would say the highlights of the trip were definitely the Choprock Narrows.
Very photogenic place, awesome to walk through. It is difficult to get into there because you have to loop around and go up through the circle cliffs, which I did that on the, what was it, the third or the fourth? Yeah, I think it was the third day. And that was the kind of walking that reminded me of going up onto Packard Mesa in the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness. It was a steep climb onto some pinyon and juniper forest, so just a necessary evil to get down into that area. Also, I was actually really impressed with Fence Canyon and the slick rock slopes going up to it. So, yeah, so I definitely want to return to Escalante. I think I want to do a trip out kind of southeast later in the year, so look for that. But anyway, I think that calls it for this trip. Like if you like, and subscribe for more. See you next time.